We've got our game of the night, the biggest one everybody's waiting on. 13 versus 16, SEC matchup. Chris Beard and the Ole Miss Rebels are getting ready to host the Texas A&M Aggies at the Pavilion. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's going down. Big time matchup. 14-4 Texas A&M Aggies versus the 15-3 Ole Miss Rebels. Texas A&M is 3-2 in the SEC right now. It's currently 8th in the conference, 2 games behind. Shows how tight the conference is right now. While Ole Miss sits at 4-1 in the conference, currently 3rd and 1 game behind. I can't lie, this is one I don't know how this game is going to go. We've got 2 really good teams in this one. A&M, sure, they have 2 conference L's, and they haven't been all the way consistent, but they also haven't had Wade Taylor all year recently. Got him back last game, I believe. And he's still getting back on his feet. He's still getting used to game speed. He kind of struggled last game. He shot 3 for 13. They were able to pick up a win against LSU, but he shot 3 for 13, 1 for 5 from the three-point line. He had 12 total points. Not a bad night, but it's not the Wade Taylor we're accustomed to seeing. He hasn't really had his breakout game this season, and I think that this is the game he has to have one if A&M wants to win. Phelps has stepped up with Wade not being there recently, and I don't want to say not living up to the expectations because Wade has had a pretty decent year, but, hasn't been everything we've always seen. I don't know. Wade he's a tricky guy, man. You don't know if you're going to get 30 from him. You don't know if you're going to get 8 points. Okay. Phelps this year has stepped up. He's been huge for the Aggies, averaging a little bit under 16 points, shooting right under 40%. This is a pretty good Aggie team. Buzz has got these guys going this year. We've seen them have some success in the past few years, but not really be able to get over that hump, get over the edge. They're putting up 76.4 points per game, averaging 41.4 rebounds per game, which is 12th in the country right now, and giving up about 66 points per game. This A&M team, they're pretty good. They play well on defense. They're going to need Wade Taylor, like we discussed, to get going. The game today comes down to Wade Taylor. If they want to give themselves a chance to, get in the top 4 of the SEC, have a high seed in the tournament, give themselves a chance to win, Wade Taylor's going to have to step up. And I understand that he's coming off of injury. I understand that things haven't been ideal for the Aggies all the way this year, but still in good position. Top 15 team in the country right now. Going on the road, is that scary? I don't know. Some SEC schools have been performing pretty well on the road this year. We saw A&M lose to Kentucky. We saw A&M lose to Alabama. The Kentucky loss was terrible. They got killed. But I believe that was the game that they didn't have Wade Taylor. So I don't consider that. I don't count that. Hey, throw that out. Wade wasn't there. Alabama, they took a close L, 6-point L. They gave up 94 points. That was the problem there. But before that, they ran through everybody. Beat Purdue by 4. Beat Texas Tech by 5. Beat Texas by 20. Beat OU by 2, a top 25 team there. So they have an opportunity to play another top 25 team tonight. That team is the Ole Miss Rebels. They are coming off of an overtime loss to Mississippi State where they lost over 84-81. They're averaging 78.8 points per game this year. Tied 90th in the country right now. So not terrible, not great. I don't know what you call that. They're giving up about 65.7 points per game right now. Sean, their guard, he's averaging 14.2 points per game, shooting 42.9% from the field. And this Ole Miss team they're a pretty solid team as well. Prior to the Mississippi State loss, they beat Alabama 74-64. Alabama, in my opinion, is a top 3 team in the country. They waxed Georgia. They had a weird L to Memphis. Memphis isn't a terrible team. I think Memphis is they haven't lived up to their expectations, but they got talent. So I wouldn't consider that terrible. I think Memphis is actually a pretty good team. Obviously, that's not ideal for an SEC school to go and lose to Memphis. That's terrible. But Took a tough 2-point L to Purdue. So they play teams close. Ole Miss is a really good team. They got guards that can score. Their bigs can score. Ole Miss has a few guys right now that are standing out to me. They got Sean, they got Jalen, they got Matthew, they got Brakefield. All 4 of those guys are averaging over 10 points. They're averaging double digits. Sean is at 14.2, Jalen 11.8, Matthew 11.7, and Brakefield is at 10.2. They also got Dre Davis right under at 9.8. I'm going to give him that mark. So you can say they got 5 guys averaging double-digit points. I think that's a huge factor. Texas A&M isn't that deep. I'd say they got 6, 7 guys that can really go. So, yeah, if Ole Miss is able to avoid foul trouble, play well, shoot the ball efficiently, I think this is going to be a really good game. We got 2 high-powered offenses. We got 2 pretty decent defenses that give up about 65, 66 points per game. Both of these teams score about 77 points per game if you average out the 2 teams' balances. So this is tough. I don't know. I don't know. It's a late-night game. A&M going on the road. Right now the books have Ole Miss at favored at 3.5. I would say, yeah, I have to go Texas A&M. I think Wade Taylor has a breakout game tonight. I'm saying that right here, right now. Wade Taylor's having a breakout game tonight. This is the day. I'm taking A&M not just to cover the spread at 3.5. I'm taking A&M. I'm taking the money line. They got Ole Miss favored. I don't see Ole Miss winning this game by 4. And honestly, I don't see Ole Miss winning this game at all. I think Wade Taylor has a big night. I think Phelps has a pretty good night. And I think Buzz just out-coaches Ole Miss tonight. As long as the Aggies stay out of foul trouble, I can see them taking this game about 79 to 72. Yeah.